Welcome. How are you doing today? I don't know what's going on with my lipstick. I seem to have only managed to successfully get it all over my teeth. That is okay. We're not going anywhere special. We're going to Taco Bell. So for 5.5 years now, I've been kind of obsessed with this particular murder case. It's the Delphi murders. If you're unfamiliar, 2 teenage girls were murdered in broad daylight on like a public hiking trail in Delphi, Indiana in February of 2017. And these girls got video and audio of the motherfucker who killed them. But those small town cops are, not great. And so for 5 years, it's just been no advancements in the case, really. There's been some unique red herrings. But several days ago, I checked up on the case, still no new information. So I was watching a television special that like a news channel did earlier this year on the 5th anniversary of the murder. And it really got me thinking about the way that missing persons and murder cases are covered that just gets on my nerves. So I wrote a little list of these things that I wanted to talk about. And before I could film the video that we're filming today, I got an alert on my phone Friday morning that there was going to be an announcement in the Delphi murders coming up soon. And I thought, yeah, right, it's gonna be another load of fucking nothing. Down the hill, guys, down the hill. But when I clicked on this Reddit post, it showed that some of the relatives of the murdered young girls had posted on their social media saying, today's the day. And I was like, holy shit, no fucking way. And sure as shit, a suspect is in custody and has been booked into the county jail. And then immediately moved to a different facility for his own safety. I really hope they have the right guy. I really do. But in a video I made quite a while back about unsolved cases that bother me, I talked about how we kind of do just have to accept that we may never get answers. And we need to make peace with the fact that we aren't really owed answers, Anyway, let me get my glasses on. We're gonna do some math. Okay, so the first thing that bothers me about crime coverage is the way that if a person goes missing and is later found dead, they will say, and her body was found just 327 miles from where she was last seen. Just 327 miles. They make it sound like it's so fucking close. How far away does a body have to be to no longer be considered just? Petty gripe, I know. It just gets on my nerves, that's all. Another thing that bugs me is that every fucking murder is brutal. All of them. It's always a brutal murder. And now I'm not asking for anybody to call it a casual murder. I just would like for them to maybe Google some synonyms. Perhaps invest in a thesaurus. The third thing that bothers me is that they'll do a follow-up or a revisit of an old case that is unsolved. And they'll do an interview with law enforcement who will say something like, it's been 24 years, but investigators say the case is not cold. And then they'll cut to a law enforcement officer being like, we're really zeroing in. We are confidently closer now than ever before. It's been 24 years. I think they just don't like to admit when cases have gone cold, because that means they'd have to admit their failures or their lack of achievements, whichever one they want to say. The fourth thing that I made note of was Gabby Petito energy. Now I know missing white woman syndrome is an issue, but the Gabby Petito case was very unique in that a girl went missing and she had been very active on social media. She had a YouTube channel where she was documenting her travels. She went missing. The last person who was with her suddenly popped up across the country in Gabby's car and then he was on the run. So, like, there were a lot of moving parts. There were details. There was something to, like, look for, to watch, to follow, to wait for more details, right? But then there have been some other cases of, like, a dead person where, in one example, a woman went over to a guy's house. She spent the night in his bed, and when he woke up the next morning, she was dead in bed next to him. He called 911 immediately. There was a toxicology report done on her body, and the toxicology showed that she had died of a drug overdose. And family and friends were, like, not accepting of this. They wanted to find someone at fault, and I think they thought that maybe there was foul play, she was murdered, I don't really know. But, like, there have been other similar cases like this, where it's just like, a person is dead, we know where they are, they've done tests on the body, but, like, because these women were not white, people get upset, and they're like, where's that fucking same energy y'all had with Gabby Petito? And it's like, this is gonna sound fucking cold and callous, but, like, there's no energy to put into some of these other stories because there isn't really much of a story there, you know? I don't know how you keep the same energy with things that are completely dissimilar. There's no parallels. I sound very cold and callous, I'm sorry. I don't mean it that way. I don't understand when some people say keep the same energy when there's not really anything to put the energy up for. Eat me alive in the comments. Go ahead. Like and subscribe! One of the other things that bothers me about following true crime is that people who are new to a case, like they've just discovered it, they maybe watched one TV show, one YouTube video, listened to one podcast, whatever, and they barge in to, like, the Reddit forums or the comment sections, and they are there to educate everyone else and give us all their opinion and profile because they are now a professional. It doesn't matter how many years other people have been following the case and, like, cataloging all of the details. No. New person comes in, they don't even want to, like, read through other people's discussions, and they'll start asking stupid questions. And if you say, oh my God, like, are you new here? And other people get defensive and be like, yeah, not everybody's always been here the whole time. And it's like, I'm not expecting you to have spent your entire life, like, being obsessed with these cases the way that the rest of us have. But I mean, would it kill you to just educate yourself instead of just gathering a couple of basic details and then telling everybody, I'm here to educate you all with my very limited knowledge? And they always have the wildest and wackiest theories too. Oh my God. And I get it. I do. I get it. Because I know when we have unanswered questions, our minds tend to fill in the blanks. In some people's minds, oh, it's like a Mad Libs fill in the blanks in there. The last thing that I'm going to mention that bothers me about true crime coverage and discussion is that in the Delphi murders, though they were murdered on a, like, public hiking trail, they ended up being found deceased on some guy's land. His name was Ron Logan. And he was looked into and effectively cleared by law enforcement. And he died a couple of years ago. And even now, that law enforcement has brought in a suspect who was on nobody's radar. He hadn't been in any discussions. Nobody'd heard this motherfucker's name. We didn't know anything about him. Law enforcement has finally made an arrest in connection with this murder. And people who have followed this case for years are still trying to insist that he somehow was connected to Ron Logan because they want so badly to believe that they were right in their theory that Ron Logan was responsible for the murders. They're part of the Low Gang. Gang, gang, gang! And now, I don't mean to, I'm not going to call these people stupid. I'm just going to say, bless your heart. They might be a bit touched. Because Ron Logan was an 80-year-old alcoholic. And not like a functioning one either. So, I don't understand. Like, people are so married to their own theories that they are telling reality to fuck off Frankly, I know I shouldn't give a shit, right? Think what you want. You're wrong. And law enforcement has a suspect in custody. However, these people still are in the conversation space regarding these case discussions, still throwing out their incorrect theory about fucking Ron Logan, and they get on my nerves. And that's about it for my gripes today. Is there anything that bothers you about true crime coverage? Either way, I am over the fucking moon that law enforcement finally has a suspect in custody in connection with the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Because it's been a long time. And those girls and their families and their entire community deserve justice, as well as, like, to not have a fucking murderer just walking amongst them, working at the CVS. Oh my God. I want to thank you for listening. I feel like forgiveness is very important, so I want you to forgive yourself for the time that you have wasted watching this video. And have a good day. And one last thing. A couple videos ago, I showed y'all my new keychain, and I said this was a strawberry kitty, and I was showing it to a friend of mine while we were hanging out in my backyard. And I said, look at my cute little thing. It was $11.80. She said $11.80 is pretty good in 2022. However, that's not a cat. That is like a dog. She's right. This is also a dog. I am done.